Bangkok Patana tennis tips. My name is Daniel Arl, I'm the head tennis coach here, and today we're looking at the serve. The serve arguably is the most important shot in tennis. It's always the first shot of the point. Often can be used to set the points up. The professional game often actually wins them. As you will see from this completed action, the coordination is very good. You see a very good throwing action, ball toss out in front, weight transference. However, there are many parts of the serve which can unfortunately go wrong, and also many parts of this action and grip we need to make sure are right before we develop. The most important thing for our serve is having the right grip. Continental grip, chopper grip, whatever you call it, this is essential. To practice this grip, the best thing I've always used is to bounce the ball down using the grip, and you will find very quickly that doing that you'll feel a little bit of strain on your wrist, lower forearm, and that will really get you to understand the value of this is our grip. The first grip most people use when they're serving is the forehand grip. That's the natural grip to pick the racket up with, and you can still serve with it, but what does tend to happen is the racket face will open. So at the back of our swing, our throwing action, the racket face is open, and when we bring the racket through, the racket face again is open, the ball is going to fly. A good practice to learn our grip is to get yourself against a fence and think about getting your racket face flat against the fence, extending the arm. We call it pronate. Throwing action, we can reach up. With our forehand grip, you will find you can't extend properly, and the racket won't extend fully, and it also won't touch the fence flat against. So we reach up, set up for our serve. Our feet are very important. My front foot, which is my left foot, as I'm a right-hander, is aiming towards the net post here. My right foot is shoulder width apart. Gives me a good base, and useful for when I do push down and drive up, I'm using my legs as well. Ball toss, often something which does require a little bit of attention. Hand out in front, fingers, palm, facing upwards, and when we throw the ball up, we want the ball to go slightly forward. Drop on a clock face, ball goes up, very smooth, slow ball toss. The racket and ball need to work together. So as my ball toss is going up, my racket is going back into its throwing position. The racket face is closed because I've got my chopper grip. So as we do that, everything works together. Okay, so we've got a slow motion with the ball toss, racket goes back, ready to accelerate. This is, again, something which takes a bit of practice because we need to make sure this coordination really does work. As the serve is the only shot in tennis you have complete control over, we've already talked about the feet, the ball toss, but also get yourself a good routine, whether that's 2 bounces, 3 bounces, even sometimes more. Do the same thing every time. So for me, I do 2 bounces. 1, 2, routine, ball toss, ready to go. Everything needs to be the same. It's great to get into good habits. One thing you will find is you can start with the grip, no problems at all. A problem exists when we take that racket back, and at the back of our swing, we slip to our forehand grip again, racket face opens. It's very good that you are aware of where your racket is. I know that racket face is closed, and I also know if I change my grip, my racket face is open. My shoulder will also drop if the racket face is open. It's very important we keep our shoulder nice and high, racket face is closed, so when we bring the racket through, we can pronate and actually get the racket swinging and accelerating through the ball. How do we know if we're keeping this grip? How do we know if it's working? This is always a big question. One thing you will find, if you are managing to hold this grip and the racket face is staying closed, you'll often find when you practice your serve, the ball will go out to your left. You will put slice on the ball because you haven't quite mastered how to pronate the racket, and the ball will go to your left. Look at this. Frustrating. So the ball's not going into the box, but it is a positive sign. If you can get to the stage where you hold this grip, the racket's there and the ball is going that way, don't worry. That's a really positive sign and we'll get there very quickly. One of the things you'll have heard from one of your coaches is about our throwing action. So if we're at the stage now, we've got our grip, we're getting into a throwing position here, we've got to understand how to throw our racket on the ball. It very simply is like a throw. So for me, if I put my ball in my right hand, I throw the ball. We've got to learn to throw our racket at that ball. Really important, when you see my throw, when I release the ball, look at my arm. Arm is straight at the highest possible point I can release. It's the same with our serve. Racket, grip, highest point of my release is where I really throw that racket at the ball. As with anything in life, practice is our key. Now you've got to the stage where we've got the grip, we've got the throwing action, we've got the ball toss, we've got our routine, practice. Serve is the one thing you can practice by yourself. You don't need anyone else. You have a court. Even if you go in your garden and practice a throwing action, you've got to spend hours mastering everything else. So, again, with ball toss, routine, feet, racket goes back, racket goes forward. Same again. Routine, feet, grip, racket, into our throwing position. As we've talked about through this video, we are looking at getting the grip right, getting into a throwing position. There are a few other things that go with the serve, like bending our knees, jumping into the serve, but the key, especially at a younger age, is making sure we've got routine, we've got grip, we've got a nice rhythmical swing, we've got a throwing action, and our grip remains. Don't worry too much about all these other things, they will come once we've got the basic.